Something that should have happened on the day they fired Doug Pederson, because anybody who pays any attention to the NFL knows that Trent Baalke was going to be an impediment to their coaching search. And it took Shad Khan, the owner of the team, 2.5 weeks to come to the conclusion. Now, I give him credit for coming to the conclusion and acting on it instead of just circling the wagons and ignoring all those meddling teenagers that have been telling him he needs a new GM. But he came to the conclusion that to get a coach that he's going to feel can take the team to where it needs to be, they need to move on from Trent Baalke. So, hey, it's better late than never, but it would have been better, much better, if it had happened when they moved on from Doug Pederson, because I don't know how different their coaching search would have been.
Right.
I think they would have been in it for Ben Johnson.
Exactly.
If they had moved on from Trent Baalke at the
mean,
time that the coaching search began.
I mean, you don't know. Well, who did they lose the opportunity with because of the setup that they had until yesterday? I think that's definitely fair to question that. I'm with you there all the way. And then I mean, come on, it could look any more apparent? Like, hey, we interview 3 coaches, Liam Cohen, Robert Saleh, and Patrick Graham. And then, like, a day after it's over, it's like, hey, actually, we're going to fire the GM. What? I thought we were interviewing head coaches. We're firing the GM? I mean, it has all the looks of, like, people have come in there for head coaching interviews, and they got in the Khan's ear behind closed doors and were like, I got an issue with your GM. Like, I don't want to be stuck in this situation with him. And I don't know if it was the Liam Cohen finally taking himself out of the running there, who I think was really in the leader house to be the head coach there for Jacksonville. I don't know if it was that and just the egg on the head there and boom, like, oh, man, he doesn't want it. He just wants to go back to be Tampa Bay and be the offensive coordinator. Was that the moment where they were finally like, okay, Baalke's an issue here? I don't know, but it certainly has that look and feel to it, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I thought the same thing. Somebody yesterday who's got some knowledge of the search said that Cohen pulled his name out because he wasn't going to get it. That's usually what prompts someone to pull their name out, although there are other reasons. It's not the only thing that could cause it to happen. But when you look at the timeline, it looks like, by virtue of when they moved on Baalke, it looks like Cohen pulls out because of Baalke, so they fire Baalke.
Yeah,
that's the message that the average person of reasonable common sense.
And that's the message I've gotten from a few people that I know connected to this situation, Mike. So I'm not just like pulling this one out of my butt or anything like that there.
Well,
that's the feel that some of the people that have been down there and had some conversations certainly felt that, yes.
I suspect that folks at Tampa who did not want to see Liam Cohen leave were explaining to Liam Cohen in no uncertain terms the realities of working with and for Trent Baalke, which may have contributed to Liam Cohen deciding to stay put. And as it relates to Cohen staying put, look, remember when this went down with Gerard Mayo? Maybe leaving the Patriots, and then all of a sudden he stays put with a new contract? And what was in that contract that we found out about after Bill Belichick was fired?
I hear you.
I wouldn't be surprised if Liam Cohen's got a clause in his contract that makes him the successor to Todd Bowles.
I would not either.
And they have no reason to tell anybody about it.
Right.
But it's permissible. It's an easy way to circumvent the Rooney Rule. You make the decision ahead of time. It's part of a binding contract. It happened with Jim Mora. It happened with Jim Caldwell. It happened with Eric DeCosta. It happened with Gerard Mayo. And it could possibly be happening with Liam Cohen.
I hear you. I thought the same thing, right? Something like, hey, we're going to give you a lot more money, and Todd might be on his way out. We'd love you to be the successor, or it's in the contract, whatever it may be. Right. But, yeah, I had that same thought, Mike, there, certainly. And we know that, there were certainly rumors about Todd Bowles' future this year and all that. But, man, go ahead. What do you want to say something else there?
Well, Gary's telling us break time, but I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Does this change the course of the search? Do they reopen? Do they reconsider? Do they expand it? Because they were down to just a few guys. Patrick Graham, Robert Saleh, Liam Cohen. Now that Baalke's gone, do you say, okay, we got a new universe here of potential candidates, guys that might not have been interested, may be interested again. And if what we're saying about Cohen is true, hell,
yeah, maybe he could be.
He could still come.
I'm interested too to see if that happens. That's where I wanted to go with it. I mean, this will be like, wait, will he like hear? Will we hear something here in the next 48 hours? Or he's like, well, maybe I won't take my name out of that. But yeah, I don't know where it goes. Robert Saleh he's worked down there in Jacksonville. We know he can energize an organization and he knows defensive football. I'm a huge fan of Patrick Graham. You know that. I've been saying that with what he has done with that Raiders defense, right? I think he's got head coaching bravado written all over him there.
Why aren't the Raiders making him the head coach?
I don't know. That's a very good question, but he certainly would be a guy I would want to interview and pick his brain a little bit. But yeah, does Joe Brady become part of the conversation now in Jacksonville a little bit more? Does a Todd Monken become more of the conversation there? I'll be interested to see where it goes too.
Mike McCarthy.
Maybe, right.
Why would you not make a beeline for Mike McCarthy? You need somebody to get the most out of Trevor Lawrence. And hey, one of my first thoughts was you clear out the front office. That's exactly the kind of situation Bill Belichick's looking for. Now, never mind the fact that his consigliere, Mike Lombardi, has indirectly crapped on Tony Khan on multiple occasions by saying you got sons of owners who run the analytics department. They could try to get past that if that's something Khan would want to do. I have no idea at this point whether he'd want to do it, but when Baalke's out of the mix, it would be Belichick with a clean slate, keys to the car, in comes Lombardi, in comes whoever else he wants, and off they go. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's what happens when you do what you should have done 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't expect that either, but this is weird. It's weird to see a team go, we fired the coach, we keep the GM, we're going to do a bunch of interviews, and then wait, we're going to fire the GM. That's about as odd as it gets. That's one that I'm serious here. I don't think I ever recall it quite happening that way.
Hey, how about Nick Saban? Nick Saban said recently on the Pivot podcast he'd go to the NFL before he'd go back to college football. Now, I don't think he's inclined to go to either, but you just wonder. This is the guy that hired Urban Meyer. One of my writers suggested Ryan Day. It's like, I don't think Ohio State former coach is going to be in Jacksonville again. But now, I mean, really, I think this potentially starts it all over again. And who knows what direction it goes because you've got a fully open coaching staff and front office to work with. We'll see what Khan does. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.